Hallo miteinander, I'm Gesh86 and this is the Let's Play for Funtacular. For the penultimate week we're playing Kirby Super Star, the Great Cave Offensive. Now you might be thinking, a Kirby game? Isn't that a little bit too easy for this kind of contest? And you would be right, if it wasn't for the nature of this week's challenge. In the Great Cave Offensive, you go around a non-linear world, collecting as many treasure chests as you can. Each of these contain a treasure with a certain gold value. Some treasures are more cheap, and others are very valuable. But, as a completionist, you would want to get all of them. Not us. This week we have 15 minutes as always to collect a high score. So, pretty much only the valuable treasures count. As you might have noticed, and if you're familiar with the game, I've already passed up quite a few treasures. That's because I don't think they're worth picking up. We don't have the time for them. Much more than a completionist run, this will feel like a speedrun of sorts, where I only get the good treasures. Like this one coming up. The crystal ball for 200k. Very nice. That one is quick to get, as you saw. So yeah, our premise is to be quick, like Speedy Gonzales, not like Slowpoke Rodriguez, who you shouldn't underestimate though, because he packs a gun. Even if he might be the slowest mouse in all of Mexico, he's not slow in the head. Anyway, I really like this week's challenge because I'm very impressed by it, because it is different from all we've done before. Much more than a challenge about skill or quick reflexes and memorization, it is about strategy and careful planning of a route where you can get lots of good treasures easily. Now, the week that this week can be compared to best is probably the Tetris week, because once again the contestants are pitted against each other directly. That's right, no progress points and no style points. So pretty much we can play as sloppy as we want and can die and get hit all the time. Doesn't matter as long as our score is good. Now, about Kirby games, I have to admit I really like Kirby games. Even if they're not all that challenging, they always make you feel happy and fill you with glee. Because they're just nice to look at and have this very light feel to them. Yeah, they're just lots of fun to play. However, the one that I like best is probably Kirby's Dream Land. That is so simple and pure. Just such a classic game for me. Also, first mini-boss. That was the first mini-boss. Monkey go down the hole. Yeah, with the beam power that guy is cake. Absolute cake. Right here is another treasure for 80,000. Not a whole lot, but at least worth picking up. The Star Stone. To get it we had to use this cannon there. Those really remind me of the barrels from Donkey Kong Country. You know, for example those in the first one in Barrel Cannon Canyon. Wow, that was a hard stage for being so early in the game, but what can you do? Anyway, we're not playing Donkey Kong Country here, we're playing Kirby Super Star. So let's talk about that. I said before that I like the old Kirby game best, and that makes me kind of sound like an old-timer, doesn't it? All you whippersnappers with your fancy powers and your helpers and your epic yarn. Back in my day, we didn't even know Kirby was pink. So yeah, the Kirby series has evolved a lot. In this one we can not only get enemies' powers, but we can also summon companions. We were not allowed to have another player play our companion, which is possible and advisable, but we weren't allowed, so we had to go with the weak AI. Anyway, we've come up against the first boss, Fatty Whale. Poor guy, I bet he had a rough childhood, because with a name like Fatty Whale, you know that your parents didn't love you all that much. A lot of the contestants like to use the mirror power against him, and while that is a very safe way to fight him, I think the sword is much quicker to fight him. However, at the end of the fight, I always switch to the stone power. That is the one power that you can get during the fight, and I like to end it with that one, because of another treasure coming up. Just in a second I will pick up a certain power twice, and that starts a roulette. Now, at this point I didn't even know about that, so that confused me a lot. In the end, I picked up Birdon, who I like to call Derpon, because just look at the guy. Nevertheless, I got stone power, and I pummeled this guy. I guess I was the fatter guy. You could say that Great Cave Offensive is a one-level game. However, from time to time you're going through these minecart rides. These are pretty much a little breather in between. They really don't serve that much of a purpose. Other than that, we ended that one with a little mid-air kiss. Yes, in this game, if you pick up a healing item, or your partner does, you can share it with each other, mouth to mouth. Bow chicka wow wow. Down here was why I took the stone power, so I could get the glass slippers a little bit quicker. You don't need a power to get them though. You can get them with just your underwater attack. Here's the very first main hub of the game. You could go 3 doors, but we're going to take the one that leads straight to the boss, because the other ones, they have a bit of treasure. The left one has treasure worth 100,000. The middle one has treasure worth 260,000, but they're not the time worth getting. They just take too long. So we're just going to go straight forward and take the ones in here that we can find. This door, by the way, has the most treasure. But it also has a bad surprise for you. Well, not really surprise, because we saw this enemy before. This area has a lot of the tack enemies in it. I think that stands for terribly annoying crook, because that is what they are. They steal your powers or companions, which I guess makes them kidnappers. That's against the law. Through this wind tunnel, we can get another treasure. I think this treasure most of the people will get, because it doesn't take long to get. It's pretty much directly on the way, and it's worth a whopping 500k. Yeah, the truth mirror. You should really get that one. Right here is, believe it or not, the boss. For this boss, I like to pick up Jet as my companion, Capsule J, and I like to be the fighter. Now this boss is a nice little surprise. It is pretty much a joke. And I mean that literally, a real joke. Here the game is parodying RPGs. I think most notably Dragon Quest. This is supposed to look like Dragon Quest because that game was so popular in Japan. Well, nowadays it's popular everywhere. But yeah, that is what this game is parodying. It's not the only thing it's parodying, of course. This boss is kind of trivial. It's a kind of turn-based boss, and it's so easy because you can block in this game with the L and R buttons. If you block, you don't take damage, of course. Even from things that you wouldn't think you could block, like from this witch. Better turn off your flashlights. Sometimes this witch uses fire and ice spells, and yes, you can block these. I guess Kirby is made of steel. Puffy pink steel. Yeah. Capsule J does a lot of damage in this fight, that's why I chose him. If you don't have him, this could take a while, because you can only attack so often. when it's your turn, of course. As I've said, this is an RPG. But only for a little while longer. And the witch is dead. Hooray! Now, at the end of this fight, you will gain experience points and other points. Don't think about it too much, the game is once again just making jokes. I mean, come on, beauty points? What are those supposed to be? Fever points? Yeah, don't think about it too much. So, now we can move on to World 3 with another trolley ride. World 3 is a world that we won't be staying in very long. It has a lot of treasure and it even has bosses in it, but all of those are optional. We're only going to collect one single treasure throughout. You know, let's mention the story of this game. I kind of like the story of Great Cave Offensive because it is a very simple story. Basically, Kirby tripped and fell down a hole. Yeah, simple as that. Down there he found a strange world, which is very peculiar to me. I've also found a strange world once. It was full of pale creatures, moving around quirkily, not making a sound while doing so. I tried to communicate with them, but they did not respond. It was very weird, very frightening. Then I found out that it was just a mime school. Those Gordos in that room, they can really hurt you quite badly. I think 3 hits from full health kill you. But it doesn't matter, I can be pummeled around as much as I like, as long as I don't die. That would be bad and cost us a lot of time. This is the trolley ride to World 4. If you stop and think about these for a second, you will notice that they kind of don't have a point. You're just going along, running over innocent animals. Or maybe not so innocent, who knows, who knows. Now this is World 4, a sky world underground. Yeah, no comment. There are quite good treasures around here, and that is why I've advanced to this point. They are worth a lot and are easier to reach than you would think. The winter time isn't even the best of them. Actually, it's pretty much one of the worst of them. Don't you worry. Now here, in this particular room, is where we can get the most valuable treasure in the game, but it's a doozy to get. To get it, you must make it through this wind channel with the jet power-up, and it's so hard to pull off. You have to do something like double tap while falling down, then doing a charge attack, but everything before you hit the ground. Very hard to explain, even harder to pull off, believe me. We got the katana for a huge amount of money, 990,000. It's not even a special katana, it seems. It's not even called Masamune or Murasame. Nothing like that, just a sword. We could get the ice power here, but we won't. Even though I guess it is a very cool ability. Badumshk. We're just going to move on. There is one more treasure on my route that I really wanted to get. It is a very valuable one. Very valuable to some people more than to Kirby. Something else that is to note is that through that door is actually the final boss of the game. That's right. You can beat the Great Cave Offensive in less than 15 minutes, easily. Especially if you don't take the treasures, but we take the treasures, of course. Down here is what we've been looking for. The Triforce. Da-da-da-do. Yeah, now Kirby can become the supreme ruler of Hyrule, but knowing that pink little guy, he's just gonna eat it up, isn't he? Yeah. Now, at this point, my run is pretty much over. These are all the treasures that I wanted to get, but because I have a little bit time left, I can get one that is worth only a measly 40,000. It's right here. It is the Platinum Ring. Now, this pretty much marks my final score. 4,259,300 G. Pretty nice, I'm content with that. The last thing I'm going to show you is a tiny glimpse of the final boss. He's called the Voodoo Doctor, and he's not easy to fight. I suggest, from a few runs that I've had against him, I suggest you get the bomb power-up, because that flies in an arc. But that pretty much wraps it up for this week. I'm Gesh86, this was Kirby Super Star. Bis bald!